and I found out that Jordan went to UNC, and so it was game over, man. And I've been a UNC fan. I've been a UNC fan ever since. I've just been a Tar Heel through and through.
There we go, dude. I mean, Michael Jordan, like when you think Michael Jordan, UNC, how great of a player. He's the greatest of all time. He's GOAT.
Right. Like, he's the GOAT. In my opinion, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I mean, yeah, I'm biased, but he's the GOAT, dude, for sure.
I think he's like everyone's hero from the 90s. Like, dude,
he's gotta be.
I didn't even watch basketball. I was too poor to even have a TV, but I still knew who Michael Jordan was, man. I'm like, yeah, he's just the greatest of all time, but why?
Right. For sure.
I watched Space Jam. It was dope. He beat
Right. He was, yeah. I mean, he dunked from half court. Like,
yeah,
he stretched his arm, right?
That, of course, to a kid, that was amazing. But
exactly.
Dude, MJ, greatest of all time. I don't care. LeBron's, whatever the hell. Dude, if you're in the league for like 30 years, of course you're going to have those stats. So,
I mean, while we're on it, like LeBron is great in his own right. LeBron is incredible. The longevity, what he's been able to do across, I think this last year was his 17th year. Like what he's been able to do across 17 years, being as healthy as he's been. I think last year, like not this year, obviously they won the title. Congrats to them. Not this last year, but the year before that was the only year he's really had any significant injury to where he wasn't able to play consistently. I think he missed something like 40 or 50 games 2 years ago. And that's the only year he's had. Excuse me. That's the only year he's had like that. I mean, so what he had been able to do pretty much for 17 years is absolutely insane. The longevity and the fact that, I mean, in my opinion, you could make the argument that for the last 12, 15 years, the dude should have been the MVP.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
you can absolutely make that argument because, almost any team that he's going to is going to be a contender.
Right. He's a phenomenal talent. But my only thing is if you take LeBron, you put him in the same era as Jordan with how physical that play was, does his body last up that long?
I don't think his body lasts as long. I still think he would have been great. I'll give him that. I still think it would have been great, but I don't think the longevity would have not been there.
Because he would have had that was a time where the big bigs did, like
right. I mean, you had
Pistons, all that, dude.
Hakeem Olajuwon. You had the bad boy Pistons. When Dennis Rodman was on that roster. Then you had Karl Malone. In that system he had to play against Patrick Ewing. God bless it. There's and also up there in Piston was in Detroit was Lambeer.
Yeah,
Lambeer was an absolute monster. So, I mean, it just like you said, the era of the bigs. And I mean, I feel like we're slowly kind of gravitating towards that again. They're trying to, at least, with the emergence of some of these other players.
Well, look at the Lakers, man.
Exactly.
Between LeBron and AD, dude, like that's how they pretty much won. But,
right.
Dude,
exactly.
Let's get to some football, bro. So you're a huge fan. Like, can you tell us about that? As
far as being a UNC fan, for me, like it was just across the board. It was just across the board that I was just like, hey, I mean, I'm a Carolina fan. Anytime they played, I'm from Atlanta originally, so I was able to watch a lot of the different ACC, SEC schools play, and so I was able to watch the Tar Heels while I was growing up. And like I said, basketball was mostly my wheelhouse. I didn't really start super getting into football until, I don't know. And in terms of watching it at the collegiate level, I'd say probably 2011, 2012 timeframe. Nothing super serious. We were pretty bad for a long time.
Oh yeah.
We were pretty bad for a long time. And
basketball school, dude.
Exactly. Everybody said basketball school. Clearly,
you guys have some talent coming in, dude. Like Mac Brown's killing it when it comes to recruits.
That's right.
Man.
And see, Mac Brown, this is actually his second tenure there at UNC. He was there. I think he got his career started there at UNC. And then obviously he went on to do some pretty great things. Some pretty great things at University of Texas. But I mean, like in 2015, we had a really, really good year. We had some strong talent on that roster. Guy named Ryan Switzer, who was kind of bouncing around the league.
Yep.
We had
great returner.
Yeah, right. He was a great return man. I'm 99% sure he's the all-time, or he's tied for the all-time lead in UNC history for punt return or return touchdowns.
Yeah, I think
sure
he is. The Steelers right now still returning punts. So
he might be. He might be.
He's with the Steelers still.
He did. He was with the excuse me. He was with the Steelers for a while. Steelers for a while. And I think he's with the Cowboys now. He might be with the Cowboys now.
He started with the Cowboys. Now he's with the Steelers. Mm-hmm.
Started with the Cowboys. Now it's the Steelers.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, he was on that roster, and then there was our quarterback was Marquise Williams. Mm-hmm. We ended up like I said, that year was really good. We lost our first game to South Carolina, and then we didn't lose another one until we played Clemson in the ACC championship game.
Yeah.
And I remember that game pretty. It kind of lives in infamy in my brain. We were down 2 touchdowns late, and we scored a touchdown. Everything was awesome, and the onside kick. I mean, I don't have the footage or whatever, but the onside kick was called. We were offside, but if they went back, if review existed at that time, they would see that it was clearly not offside. We recovered the onside kick.
Yeah, trust me, I get
the
it.
Onside kick, and so that lives in infamy in my brain. But I mean, Clemson went on to have, Clemson was having a great year. That's kind of when they really got started. Mm-hmm. Alabama ended up winning the title that year. That was your Derrick Henry. That was your Derrick Henry. Was there, and he's just, he's an alien. He doesn't
Dude,
he's a
his
freaking
body does not make sense.
That's what I'm saying. Dude,
he was clocked running 23 miles per hour that day in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dude, a guy, because he's all a bit 262, dude.
Every bit of it too.
Muscle.
I mean, if that's what he sounds like, dog. That's what he sounds like. I guarantee it. I'm convinced that like he and DK Metcalf, they're living proof that Wakanda exists. Like they're from T'Challa's bloodline, dog.
Of course, dude. Of course,
they are from T'Challa's bloodline. They are just absolute freaks of nature. I've never seen humans that can do the things that they can do. Right?
Yeah, they're insane, man. Like it's just incredible genetics, phenomenal
for sure.
But, dude, but you guys have a lot of talent. Like I'm looking like here, like Miles Murphy. Like we were just talking about him, crazy 5-star athlete. Or it's not Miles Murphy. Tony Grimes. My bad.
Tony Grimes. Tony Grimes,
5-star dude, DB, 28th in the country. It's insane, man. You guys have a lot of talent, UNC. Like you guys
we're reloading too. I mean, we're reloading too. Our 2021 class is nothing to sleep on. We got a couple, like you said, a good quarterback coming in. His dad was a quarterback at UNC. Drake May. Yeah, his dad was a quarterback at UNC. Obviously several years ago. His dad, and then his brother actually played basketball at UNC. Pretty beloved player in UNC history. Luke May. He had a big shot against Kentucky in like 2016.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we're currently I think we're probably hitting our peak as far as the mixture between youth and experience.
Yeah.
Our combo at the running back position, people sleep on. But if you look at it, man, like oh boy, it is thunder and lightning. And lightning with Michael Carter and then Williams that we got in the backfield. And the thing about it is, the great thing about both of them is like, both of them can play that bruiser role, and both of them can also catch the ball out of the backfield. They can run that outside sweep. They can run that outside sweep. They can catch the ball out of the backfield. Yeah. Like they're nothing to sleep on. And then we got some gamers. We got some gamers on the outside too. So I'm happy about the talent that Mac Brown's been able to bring in. And like I said earlier, like Sam Howell, the quarterback, man, he was a Florida State. He was a big time Florida State recruit.
Yeah,
He was a big time Florida State recruit, and Mac Brown showed up and flipped him. Mac Brown showed up and flipped him, and he had one of the best freshman seasons he had one of the best freshman seasons ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was comparable. It was comparable to Trevor Lawrence's freshman season. I mean,
like just looking at it, dude, like you guys this past year in 2020, you guys ranked like 13th nationally, bro. That's insane for North Carolina to be that high up in recruiting. And then next year, you guys are projected to be number 14 in the nation.
14.
Like, that says a lot about your coaching, your recruiting department. Like that's a big deal. Like just looking at it here, man, like the 4-star, just in the talent on your team is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He has had 10 4-stars in this past recruiting class. That's insane.
Yeah.
And a 5-star.
We had two 5-stars. It's 2 5-stars, right?
No, just one.
Oh, just one, Tony? Just Tony Grimes, that's it?
Yeah, I guess Miles Murphy ended up grading as a 4-star, which is like still super high 4-star though. Like almost on 5.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys have a bright future ahead of you, but like, dude, clearly these past 2 weeks have not been great for you. Like it's
been tough, man. It's one of those things where like, you know, credit to Florida State, credit to Virginia. You know, I personally feel like we gifted the game to them, but they did a good job of capitalizing where they needed to capitalize. I mean, they had every opportunity to give us the game back. They had every opportunity to give us the game back, and when they needed to step up and make a play, they stepped up and they stepped up and made a play. Yeah. And when we needed to step up and make plays, didn't step up and make plays. So credit where credit is due to Florida State, credit where credit is due to Virginia. That game is always tough. If you look back in history, man, that game is always tough. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about the Virginia freaking Cavaliers, man. Every single time we play them, it is a tough game. Every single time.
Yeah,
and dude, like their quarterback last year, I don't know if he went and got drafted or if he's injured or whatever, but their quarterback last year, everybody was sleeping on that dude, but he was really, really good. And it's unfortunate for him, you know, he had to play in the era of Deshaun Watson and then Trevor Lawrence comes in, and they obviously kind of outshine everybody. And then, you know, a couple years ago, Daniel Jones did what he did at that other school down the street.
Yeah. Well, now that you're bringing up Daniel Jones, let's talk about UNC versus Duke this week.
Right. Yeah. Excited. I'm excited. If we're going to, like I said, if we're going to win one game a year, if we only win one game a year, it better freaking be that stinking Tobacco Road rivalry. Yeah. It better be that week. And I'm excited. I think
you guys
after these last 2 weeks, if they're not hyped for this week, if you as a UNC fan are not hyped for this week, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, it should be a pretty good game. I'm not sure Duke is playing that well this year. Like I'm not seeing the So I mean, you guys should tear them apart. Like honestly,
I mean, if you ask me, they'll never play well. They're terrible.
Well, you know, I guess that goes on being a fan. But you know, it is, dude. I think it'll be a fun game, but like, dude, the ACC has some pretty good games.
This week is a really good week. Yep, this week is a really good week.
Don't bring up Danny Turnover Jones here. It's as a Giants fan. Yeah, dude, the thing is, Daniel Jones could be good, man. Like he's really got the tools.
He's got those intangibles, man. He's a gamer too. He's a gamer. He just, you know, maybe he just practices running and not falling over, you know, like maybe
dude, oh my god, that play was hilarious.
Speaking of him running, he ran the year that he came out, he ran all over us. He ran all over the Tar Heels, dude.
I think he
smashed us.
Dude, in the open field, he got up to 22 miles per hour.
He's fast, man. People sleep on that. He's fast. He's
almost as fast as Derrick Henry in the open field. Is that insane, dude?
He might take a little bit longer to get there. Like the acceleration may not be there.
But top end speed, though, man.
That top end speed, that's where it's at. That top end speed, that's where it's at for sure.
I mean, but like, dude, we have some good games. West Virginia versus Texas. That should be pretty good. I think Texas is 22.
Yeah,
West
like I said,
Virginia.
Texas knocked off Oklahoma State. He might take a little bit. Texas, they knocked off Oklahoma State last week. So they're one of those sleeper teams too. Like it just depends on what team shows up. Like I personally feel like, we play Notre Dame on November 7th. If we show up against Notre Dame, we're gonna smack them. Like it just depends on what team shows up.
It depends on if Notre Dame shows up, man. Because
if Notre Dame shows up, it'll just be a slugfest. Because Ian Book's a game or two.
Yeah,
Ian
but
Book, dude, quarterback's a game or two.
What was up with Ian Book versus Louisville, man? Like
that's what I'm saying.
What was that about, dude?
It just depends on what team shows up. And see, the good thing about that is, maybe there's a little bit more experience behind Ian Book. I haven't really done a whole lot of research on him or whatever.
I mean, he's a pretty good quarterback. He has some talent.
He's been pretty decent for a while. And I mean, I think he's a junior this year or whatever. So he's played a lot of competitive football. So he should have a bright future ahead of him and everything.
I mean, talking about games, Antonio Huff says, "What about them Bulldogs?" And I think he's referencing Georgia, and it's Florida Georgia week, man. That's a big game. That's a big game.
I think what is it? They call it the God bless it. What is it that they call that thing?
Man,
Antonio, what's it? The world's biggest cocktail party or something like that. I can't remember what it is. I should know. I'm from Georgia. I got a couple of buddies of mine that ended up going to Georgia. So I should know, but they're not allowed to talk about. They're not allowed to call it that anymore. God bless it. I can't remember what it's called, but they got a pretty cool name. They got a pretty cool name for.
In the chat, let us know because clearly we're not Georgia fans, Razorback fan, UNC fan. So
right.
I mean, I think we have two Georgia fans right here. Oh yeah, the biggest tailgate.
Oh, the world's largest tailgate.
I mean, dude, it is insane. My wife went one year and she's like, it is huge. It more than fills up an NFL stadium. But
they play in Jacksonville, right? They play
in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember. Let's see. I think it was the year after. It was the year after Tim Tebow. It was the year after Tim Tebow left. Georgia threw like a long touchdown pass on the very first play, from scrimmage, and then like the entire team ran down the sideline and started celebrating in the end zone or whatever and everything like that. They took a penalty obviously for it, but it was one of the things like they set the tone. They set the freaking tone there from the jump, and they ended up thumping them that year too. I'm pretty sure.
Chad said, "Go Dogs." Hey, I mean, I don't like Florida either. I've always disliked Florida since the game was stolen from us with the Razorbacks with Tim Tebow.
That's true.
We should have knocked over the first dude. Oh my God, Alex Tejada, dude, they burnt his car. So our kicker, in that game, missed a game-winning field goal against number one team in the nation. His car was on fire that night.
I feel bad. I feel bad for those guys too. Like, especially I mean. You guys, and I'm not trying to hate or anything. You guys haven't been really relevant in anything like that, and since 2005. Like I said, Darren McFadden. Like it's the last time y'all were really anything. Nationwide relevance. But see, in my opinion, the SEC is the best football that you're going to get.
Right, but we play in the SEC West, dude. Like
exactly.
it's a slaughterhouse.
Every year you got to go through Auburn, you got to go through Alabama, you got to go through LSU, you got to go through Texas A&M.
Yo,
Ole Miss. DK Metcalf went to Ole Miss. AJ Brown went to Ole Miss.
And I'm pretty sure there are as many 5-stars on Alabama's roster as there is in the entire ACC.
There's got to be. The only school that's comparable, outside of Clemson. I count Clemson as an SEC school. That's an SEC school. they might as well be an SEC.
Man. We don't want them.
That's what I'm saying.
But talking about Clemson, dude. Clemson, Notre Dame. That's a big game too.
Yes, that's going to be real good.
I do not think Notre Dame should be number 4, man. After almost losing to Louisville, come on now, man.
It depends on what team shows up. It depends on what team.
I just don't. I just always think that Notre Dame gets that benefit of the doubt just because of the lore and the name.
Because it's Notre Dame,
Yeah,
and I mean the only reason that they are number 4 is because Georgia lost to Alabama.
Right.
That's the only reason they are number 4. I don't see them making it into the college football playoff. I don't see them as being relevant down the road.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I mean, from a talent perspective, Clemson's gonna.
That QB dude. Oh my goodness.
DJ Ugalele.
Scary.
Bro, the thing about it is
the poise.
The ball flies out of this kid's hand better than Trevor Lawrence. I love Trevor Lawrence. He has all the gifts, but this kid, dude, his arm reminds me of Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers, dude.
It's just natural. It's just natural. There's some people that, there's some guys, like you said, that just when they throw the ball, it looks pretty. It's crisp. You're like, they're like made to throw the football.
Dude,
I see that with that kid. And these Islanders, man, they're always going to sneak up on you because they're not ready.
Personally, I'm really happy that Islanders are starting to be quarterbacks, man, because we've always been on the defensive line.
We've always been on that defensive line because y'all some angry dudes. Y'all just grow. You just grow weird. You grow gigantic. You all look like Dwayne
weirdly
Johnson.
Weirdly twitchy, dude.
Yeah.
So I mean,
other freaks of nature. There's some freaks of nature that y'all make out there.
So I think there's an actual stat out there. If you're an Islander and you you have like a 75% better chance than any other race to make it into the NFL. Like
that's
it's insane,
crazy.
Dude. That dude's like,
I believe it.
Well, dude, think about it. Like there's maybe 10 to 20 million Islanders in the entire world.
Yeah.
And somehow there are like 2 or 3 on every team. It's insane, man.
I'm partial to Haloti Nata, obviously.
Yeah,
I'm partial.
Dude, to me wrong, I love
that. Was my guy. That was my guy. A couple years ago, like when he was right before he ended up leaving us and going to Detroit. My fantasy football name was I Am Nata Crook.
There we go.
That's my guy, dude. He's vicious.
So we're talking about big island DTs right now, dude. There's a guy in Tampa Bay, Vita Vea, that I love, dude. Talk about
Washington. Out of Washington. Could you imagine if he had played like the quality? Pac-12 football, they don't really play defense.
Yeah, but it's the Big 12 too, man. Like every single defender you get out of the Big 12, man, it takes like 3 years in the league to coach up,
to really kind of get their groove. And I mean, they're all fast. Don't get me wrong. They're all fast. Those are the guys that are flying to the football every single play. There's that kid, Kenneth Murray, that went to the Chargers. That dude, I thought he was going to end up going to Baltimore. I'm happy we picked up Patrick Queen. But
he's good, bro. Good.
He's only had one iffy game, and it was against Pittsburgh. He blew an assignment. They scored, but it is what it is. So but like the Big 12, like you said, the Big 12, the Pac-12, they take a little bit longer to kind of coach up and everything like that. But once they get their footing in the league, dude, man, they're good, just fast. If they keep that speed and they get grow into their NFL bodies and everything like that, they're vicious. And I mean, that's where Vita Vea is his second or third year now, and he's tearing it up. He's tearing it up.
Dude, yeah, Vita Vea, dude, he is a monster. I was hoping he would fall to us in the draft when he came out like 2 years ago, I think it was.
Could you imagine Geno Atkins and Vita Vea having to block that guy as the center? You're just looking one way, and you got Geno, and then the other way you look at freaking Vita Vea, and you're just like, dude, I'm going up to the linebacker. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm going up to the linebacker. Y'all can handle this.
Yeah, we're gonna need like a triple team over here. It's just
right, exactly.
Who do you defend?
It almost doesn't matter who you put on the outside edge at that point. Like, I'm just gonna go one-on-one with that guy and just look at what Aaron Donald has done with an interior pass rush. Like,
I think Miami and NC State would be a good game too.
People are gonna sleep on that one. I think people are gonna sleep on that one. That kid Derek King. De'Aaron, I think is
De'Aaron.
Yeah. Out of Houston. I watched him play last year when he was in Houston. I don't remember why I was watching the game. Probably just because I was watching football.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, dude. My boy is he's a equipment manager in Miami right now. I'm gonna ask him hook me up. Oh, I need to talk. I need to talk to some of these guys.
Right.
I need to chit chat, dude.
Get him on the stream. Yeah, get him on the stream. Yeah, like get some interviews and stuff. I mean, and honestly, like Miami finally kind of did away with that Tate Martell garbage, dude. Like,
talk about a kid who wasted his talent, bro. Like what in the world happened to Tate Martell, man?
Because he was good. He was good when he was.
He was tearing it up. I know.
Good. And I mean, then he goes to Ohio State, gets beat out, quits. Like goes to Miami. Goes to Miami, gets beat out again, changes positions, doesn't really play a whole lot, and now he's off the roster again. Like, it'll be interesting to see if he lands somewhere.
The Tate Martell experience.
Honestly, if I were him, like, you could even take a page out of, we got a kid in UNC named Chaz Surratt. He came in as a quarterback, and just was not good. Quarterback wasn't his thing. And then in the offseason, he went up, talked to the linebackers coach, was like, hey, I'm fast. I've kind of got this good body. I'm an athlete. I kind of want to play defense.
Having a quarterback mindset, you already understand.
You already kind of understand how things happen. You can kind of look at an offense and see, hey, this is what's happening here. This is what's happening here. And now he's projected as a first-round draft pick in this next year. Yeah, like he's projected to come out and be pretty solid.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could realistically kind of see that happening if Tate Martell has that mentality.
Mindset, dude. Mindset. Correct. It has because this kid thinks that he's the shit. I'm like, dude, but you've not proven it on the field.
Clearly, like you haven't displayed no ability to take that role and run with it. Exactly. No ability whatsoever.
But dude, so another big game, Michigan, Indiana, dude. Number 13, Indiana. Who would have thought that, dude? The Hoosiers.
I mean, did you see? I don't know if you saw it or not, but did you see that play, that last down against Penn State? Did you happen to catch that?
I don't think so. No. What happened?
Oh my goodness! So it was in like the third or fourth overtime.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana needed to get the 2-point conversion. I think it was the 2-point conversion to win, or maybe it was late in the game. I can't remember exactly if it was in regulation or if it was in the first overtime or whatever. But they had to get it. They had to get it to win. Yeah. And when I tell you that one atom of that football crossed one atom of that goal line, I am the most serious I've ever been in my life.
Like just
one atom. And I mean, I remember seeing it on Instagram for like the next 3 or 4 days. People are like, how is this a score? But if you look at it, man, like
it got there.
The ball just barely crossed it. It's just
it doesn't mean it couldn't entirely cross. It needs to touch.
That's right. The whole thing, just one atom has to touch one atom. That's it.
So, dude, Jim Harbaugh in Michigan, do you think he stays, man? Do you think he gets another year?
I don't think he gets another year. If I'm Michigan, I cut sling load. I dip out of that. If I'm Michigan, I just dip out of that. He did all right. He did all right because he had a really good staff in San Francisco.
Yeah.
He did all right because he had a really good staff in Stanford.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you can't consistently beat Michigan State, if you can't consistently beat at all Ohio State, or like even be competitive in those games, man. Like, I just don't feel like you're going to hack it. Just like, excuse me, just like, in the NFL, if you're the Browns coach and you can't beat anybody in the AFC North, why does it matter? Why does it matter that you're here? If you're in Wisconsin, or if you're at Texas and you can't beat Oklahoma, if you're at Texas and you can't beat Texas Tech or A&M, it's not going to stay.
My whole thing is, I think Michigan holds themselves to a regard that they're just not. They think that they are a Ohio State. They think that they are an Alabama. They think that they are one of those foundational. They think they are
that powerhouse team.
But they're not. I mean, they're a good team. Like, they're a consistent 7 to 9 win team a year, which is really good. Like, not complaining
relative to the majority of football.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Dude, so I see them as an LSU. LSU's really good. They are a 7-9 win team. Every single year, they're always competitive. But are they always competing for national championships? No.
Right.
Like they're right there. They're at that cut, and they have that notoriety. They have that lineage, but they're not those incredible teams. They're
not your Ohio States. They're not your Alabamas. They're not your Clemsons. They're not your USC from back in the day.
Or Texas, dude.
Or Texas from back in the day, really. I mean, Texas is almost always in the conversation at the beginning of the year.
Right.
And then it goes back to what Texas team shows up.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And I think Penn State's in that argument too.
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Teams like Auburn, LSU, like that's the tier that they're at. And to be honest, they should be happy, dude. Like,
if you're a tier 2 team, how do you get mad at that? If you're a tier 2 team,
bro, you could be this.
You could be a tier 3 team. You could be at Arkansas. You know,
yeah,
you could be a Wake Forest.
Enjoy your 8 to 9 wins a year.
Like, you could be a Vanderbilt. You know, like
it's horrible. Don't. Arkansas ain't Vanderbilt, man.
Arkansas is not Vanderbilt. That's what I'm saying.
We've had a back couple years.
You could be way back there in the back with Vandy, you know? Like,
I mean, dude, but teams I put in that conversation too is like Georgia. They're good.
Georgia will be good until you need them to be great, and then they'll be like, can't do it.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like,
but I will stay until the day I die. If Justin Fields had been the quarterback when they played in the national championship, they would have won.
Well, I don't know about freshman Justin Fields. Like, I don't know.
Freshman Justin Fields. I've seen footage of that kid. Like, cause he went to school. I want to say he went to school down the street. Like, they both came out of Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields both came out of Georgia, I know they came out of the same class. They competed against each other at the Elite 11. Dude. And when Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields went up against each other in the Elite 11, Justin Fields was the one that won that, man. Like, he is a gamer. They should have beaten Clemson in the national semifinal last year. And people sleep on that dude because people sleep on Justin Fields, man, because yes, he has a good team surrounding him and everything like that. Yes, he went from Georgia to Ohio State.
Right.
But he did that so that he could still play a high level of competition in football, still have that really good creativity within the system. Because, people would be like, hey, why wouldn't you go to Alabama? Why wouldn't you go to LSU? Why wouldn't you go to this other school? If you look at it, Ohio State plays offense like a Pac-12 team. Like, they play offense like a Pac-12 team, and they play defense like a mid-tier to a top-tier SEC school.
Bro, so, if you notice, dude, Alabama switched to that style too. They play the Big 12. They play the Big 12, man. They throw the ball all over the field. They're getting away from running the ball on
with the freaking, like, are you kidding me? Like, the receivers that have come out of that school, man. You go from Julio Jones to Amari Cooper to Calvin Ridley to freaking his brother Riley to Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs and Jerry Jeudy played on the same football team.
Yeah, in that same.
They played on the same football team. That's just like thinking back and looking at, like, what if Ole Miss had a better quarterback when DK Metcalf and AJ Brown were on the same football team?
Exactly, bro.
Like, are you joking? Like, what if Josh Allen went to Ole Miss?
Dude, not to mention
got to drop back and throw the ball to DK Metcalf and AJ Brown. Like, how would you feel? What would you do? That's just like playing the Chiefs, man. Like, are you joking? Like,
not to mention, like, Darius Slayton was on that team too.
Darius Slayton was on that team.
The Giants. He was also on Ole Miss. Like, bro, dude, that receiving core is insane, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and see, like,
talk about slept on.
Everybody slept on, and see, like, they went to Ole Miss, so they weren't, big names or whatever. Like, I was personally like, I'll catch. I don't know how many Baltimore fans we got like in the chat or whatever that's watching. I personally, like, when we had the 15th pick in the draft, whenever we got Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
I literally was praying. I literally prayed that we got DK Metcalf. I literally prayed that we got DK Metcalf because DK Metcalf is that dude. He is that dude. Like I said, the man is from Wakanda. I swear to God, he's from Wakanda.
Talk about dude, silverback genetics, bro. That guy is crazy. Have you seen his dad? His dad is huge
like,
man.
Like, I mean, I'm not in bad shape. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm in bad shape, but like DK Metcalf and his dad, like his genetic, their genetic. If he could have been like a bodybuilder if he wanted to, or a strong man if he wanted to. Like, that man could have done whatever he wanted to do physically. His genetics are just through the roof.
I'm pretty sure DK Metcalf has a 16-pack. I'm pretty sure his abs
have abs. His abs have abs. That's exactly right. His abs have abs, dude.
Bro, it's insane, dude. A man that big, yet again, should not be that fast. He literally hunted down Budda Baker, who's not a slow free safety.
He's a top 100 safety.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's one of the best safeties in the league.
And if you watch that play,
Metcalf was like, "Hey, wait a second, I'm gonna catch you."
Yeah, dude. The thing about it, he was at a stop. He was at the top of his route. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then he took off.
He broke off the route and hawked him.
Yeah.
And, oh my goodness gracious! Insane. What a play! What a play!
Mm-hmm. So, dude, yeah. Well, we went to the NFL, dude. What happened with the Steelers? For the Ravens, dude.
So again, we'll preface it and we'll say credit to the Steelers. Mm-hmm. Credit to the Steelers.
They're a good team.
They consistently will find themselves in close games and find a way to win.
They finish.
They consistently find themselves in close games that they probably shouldn't win and find a way to win. They just do. And if you look at it, Baltimore beat them up and down the field. Mm-hmm. Up and down the field. But Baltimore turned the ball over four times. Mm-hmm. Baltimore had 10 penalties for over 100 yards.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's longest drive of the game was 77 yards. Mm-hmm. Out of those 77 yards, 57 of them were their offense. 20 of those yards were penalty yards.
Yep.
We gave them 2 short fields. Big Ben cashed it in.
But that's the thing that I told you.
And it goes right back to it's like the same, like I've had a bad 2 weeks. Like it goes right. If we played the same way we played against Philly, we beat Philly, but you can't do that against a Hall of Fame quarterback. And Chase Claypool, don't sleep on Chase Claypool either.
Bro, I never did. I did. I know how many times I drafted him in my mock draft.
Oh my goodness, I would have. I chose not to play this year, but like he's gonna be that dude, and all that's gonna do is open up Juju, open up Eric Ebron, open up the back out of the backfield because you got Snell that's back there, and you got Deontay Johnson, speedster,
James Washington, dude,
speedster, James Washington, speedster. So they're pretty good, and then you got don't even get me started on that defense. Don't even get me started on that defense because the Minkah Fitzpatrick trade. That paid off. That paid off right quick.
Dude, literally that week.
And then you've got literally the next week, because I'm pretty sure after they picked him up, then the very next week we played the Steelers. Mm-hmm. And this was last year, of course. And we had to win in overtime.
Yeah.
And that was, Lamar was going off obviously that year. And then, you've got, so at that level, you've got Joe Hayden, who is still a really, really quality
corner. Good, yeah.
You've got Minkah Fitzpatrick at the safety position. Quality. Then in the middle linebacker spot, you got Devin Bush. I don't even think he played, or he played for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you've got
4.4 speed.
Another guy that's just a monster out of Devin Bush. I'm pretty sure he was a Michigan cat, wasn't he?
Yeah, Michigan 4.4 speed, dude. Fast as hell.
And then And then on the defensive line, TJ Watt is an absolute freak. He's not as freaky. He's not as freaky as his brother, but I would say if he maintains longevity and he doesn't get injured like JJ, he's got the potential to have a better career than JJ.
Yeah, I would say he's less versatile than JJ because JJ can play anywhere on the line.
Anywhere on that
whereas
line.
TJ is more of an outside linebacker, true, because his body type is just a little bit thinner.
Just a little bit smaller, just a little bit more slim.
Dude, still like great motor, great strength, great length.
Motor. Oh my goodness.
His motor is unmatched.
He feels that stereotypical. He's that Pittsburgh dude.
Dude.
He's that Pittsburgh dude. He's because I like to think that Pittsburgh and Baltimore are they're built the same way. Baltimore, we're stereotypical. We've got like that bad boy mentality. Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh also has that bad boy mentality. Like TJ Watt, I feel like he's probably a great human being. Like he's probably a really awesome dude. Like really nice guy.
Pretty quiet.
He's really quiet. Like I just feel like his JJ's probably a lot more boisterous and everything.
Oh, yeah. Like way more.
I feel like if you got inside his head, like I don't know if you remember James Harrison. You probably do remember James Harrison, but James Harrison. I feel like James Harrison and TJ Watt are like cut from the same cloth because as soon as you step across that field, I feel like TJ Watt is literally trying to kill every human that he touches on that football field.
He just wants to outwork you, dude. That's it.
All he wants to do, wants to run. Like he's just going to run through you. Like he's going to run through you. He's going to outwork you. And that mentality serves him well, obviously as a defensive line player, but in Pittsburgh, man, all they do is use that as a spark plug. Mm-hmm. All they do is use it as a spark plug. So I feel like as long as he's in Pittsburgh, that defense is going to be something to be reckoned with.
Yeah, dude, they're such a well-coached team, dude. They're so well put together. And
Mike Tomlin. And obviously I have my misgivings about Mike Tomlin, being a Baltimore guy.
To be honest,
I will never forget that man stepping on the field and being on the field. And we did it on purpose. Like,
dude, you're talking to a Bengals fan, man.
I know it.
2015 game. Their coaches were pulling their hair, walked onto the field, pushed Pac-Man Jones, and then somehow got a penalty where they get to kick a 30-yard field goal. Like, dude. And this is their coaches.
Yeah,
this is their coaches.
Even their coaches have that bad boy mentality, dude. Even the coaches.
I think it's one of their defensive coordinators. Literally, whenever Nelson happened to go on the sideline, pulled his hair, dude. Literally pulled his hair.
Joey Porter. It was probably
Joey Porter. That's it. Yep, Joey Porter pulled his hair, dude. I'm like, what the fuck is your Sorry, guys. What is your dude? Sorry, I get real hyped, dude. Because
family show.
Yeah. Talk about being elated, dude. My wife knows for sure. Like I was like, yeah, we're gonna win, and then just straight despair, dude. Just straight up.
Hey, I know how you feel. Y'all got us in 20
TB, dude. By the way,
Tyler Boyd.
Honestly, man, I think that. So right now, man, I think that Tyler Boyd's probably the I don't know, man. He's probably the most put together receiver in our division, like AFC North. Like the dude is just a playmaker. Like he just understands how to run routes. Extremely.
No, I would have to disagree with you. I gotta go OBJ. I got to go OBJ for that one.
Yeah.
You also got to consider Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry will get you them ugly yards. Jarvis Landry. He's a little bit smaller. He's that slot receiver style, but
I don't think Jarvis is better than TB.
I got to go with OBJ. And I'm partial.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're right too. I forgot about OBJ. But dude, think about it. OBJ hasn't really showed up in the past 3 years. But I blame that mostly on the offense.
I blame that on Baker Mayfield.
Me too. I believe Baker's terrible.
Mayfield. Baker is not all he's cracked up to be.
No, nay.
He's better than me. He can play the quarterback position better than me, but he ain't all he's cracked up to be.
The thing about it, he thinks he's more athletic than he is because, dude, he literally went to party in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and got tackled by fat cops. You cannot run fat cops, dude. Really?
Cannot run fat cops, man. Like, what's up, dude?
Bro, he had a step on them. And they still caught him.
I feel that.
Oh my, dude, it is what it is. But dude, is there anything else you wanted to go over?
I mean, we pretty much. Who the Bengals got this week?
We got bye week. We're bye week.
Oh yeah, bye week.
Yep,
that might be good. That might be good for Joe. Let's talk about freaking Joe, man. Let's talk about Joe and how well he.
Dude, don't get me started, man.
I mean, I'll knock on the wood. I'll knock on the wood for you, dude. But like
Joe Burrow, yes.
Joey's a stud, man. Joey's a stud. I got a buddy of mine. Who was a who, I mean, he's not was, but he's from Louisiana. Big LSU fan. Like he will like, and he's a Saints fan, obviously too.
Of course.
And he finds time. He finds time to watch the Cincinnati Bengals games purely because that's how much respect and that's how much love he's got for Joe Burrow.
Like, he's so good.
And I mean, and like we've talked about, dude, like that dude played through so much adversity throughout his whole career. Like, I mean, that if Tate Martell just had that, if Tate Martell had that mentality, that could be Tate Martell.
Dude,
but Joey Burrow is just a freaking gamer. He's a gamer.
From a straight talent perspective, Joe Burrow is not a super impressive guy. Just straight up physical talent. No, he's
not impressive. Like he's not impressive.
Dude, the thing about it, I think Baker Mayfield has a better arm than Joe Burrow. But what separates it is I think that his analytical brain and the way it just sees the football field is what puts him over the top. And not to mention his work ethic in watching film, dude.
His work ethic. All he wants to do is win. If you told Joe Burrow, hey, man, I need you to run right through that metal wall right there. There's 3 foot of steel, and then there's some concrete on the other side. But I need you to run through that wall. And he'll just look at you, and he'll be like, hey, is it going to help us win? And you'd be like, yeah, it's going to help us win. And he would do it. He'd find a freaking way.
He'll find a way. But dude, he's doing stuff as a rookie that just like no one's done. PFF has him graded it. So think about this. PFF has him graded as the best quarterback in our division. Like just graded wise.
Really?
Yes.
Over the course. I mean, he hasn't. Has he played a bad game? I mean, you could make a small argument that he made a bad game, that he had a bad game against Baltimore, but Baltimore's one of the best defenses in the league.
The thing about it, I think that was the first game he was flustered just because like his fire zone blitzes were insane.
Marty Morningwig, man, he will blitz until the cows come home.
Yeah, I
think that dude. I don't know. Like, are you a big Remember the Titans fan?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Space Jam's my jam, and then Remember the Titans. That's my other thing too. Like. There's that scene in Remember the Titans where the defensive coordinator, the former head coach, is like, you will blitz all night. I don't want him to gain another yard. Marty Morningwig is that guy. He's like, you will blitz all night.
You guys are the most blitzing team in the NFL. Like,
for the longest time, that's because we haven't really had that stud pass rusher. Like Zadarius Smith showed up. And then he did all right, and then he took his contract with the Packers. Right. And then last year we had Matthew Judon, who had a Pro Bowl season, but I feel like he was assisted a lot by the fact that we blitzed a lot. Mm-hmm. Now the script has kind of flipped because we got Yannick Ngakoue, we got Calais Campbell, we still have Matthew Judon, we got Patrick Queen to lean on. We got, I feel like, the best defensive secondary. Or we have the best secondary in the league with Marlon Humphreys, Marcus Peters. I mean, Earl Thomas. I'm personally happy that the situation with Earl Thomas.
He was toxic, dude. He was
toxic. He was absolutely toxic. And I mean, if you look at his exit from Seattle with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is a lot like John Harbaugh in the fact that
he gave the Seattle's a whole lot of this.
He's a freaking player's coach, man. And the same thing with John Harbaugh. And both of those teams were like, nah, man, I'll pass.
Good.
Like, you're toxic, dude. It's all good. And I mean, he got into it. Brandon Williams, our one of our nose guard.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on that dude too. But like we have those dudes that are back there and they're gamers and they're absolute gamers.
My whole thing, dude, is when we played against you guys.
Dude, the man is 6'8".
Dude, the thing, how do you miss him?
How do you block him?
No, the thing they didn't even try to block him, dude. So Jonah Williams and Michael Jordan right next to each other. Look, Clay is not trying to trick anyone. He's just right there, and they literally do this.
There you go.
Clay was like, okay.
And Calais is a really nice dude too.
He's
really
great.
nice dude. Former I think he was the man of the year.
Cardinals.
He's the Walter Payton man of the year last year.
Had a really good career at the Cardinals too.
Right.
And the Jags, yeah.
Right. Cardinals and then right to the Jags. And it's great. I think it's absolutely outstanding that right after he left the Jaguars, Yannick Ngakoue came. And so Yannick Ngakoue is going to be able to just jump right in with Calais. He's going to be able to mesh exactly. And it's just going to be – and here's the thing, like with Yannick Ngakoue, I can't believe the Vikings traded him. Like what?
Or
dude?
a sixth, right?
Oh, what? I don't know what Eric DeCosta does to pull these trades off. Like we got Calais Campbell, who was a top 100 defensive lineman for a 4th rounder.
Dude,
we traded Joe Flacco to Denver when he was clearly not going to be our quarterback. I'm pretty sure we got a 4th rounder and a comp pick.
Yeah,
it's just like
that's the thing about it. And you guys draft extremely well. You guys draft so well.
Like Ozzie Newsome really set it up well for Eric DeCosta. Ozzie Newsome, fucking just
legend. He's gonna be the host. No, that's fine.
Legend, absolute legend. Ozzie Newsome was
for sure. Hall of Fame, first ballot.
Oh yeah, and see, he should be a Hall of Famer. I'm pretty sure he was a great tight end for Cleveland.
Brown's tight end, yeah, really good.
So is he a Hall of Famer as a player? Do you know?
I don't think so. No, like he's good.
In the very least, he's definitely an exec
as a GM. Yes,
like he drafted Ed Reed. He drafted Ray Lewis, Joe Flacco for that 4-game. Jonathan Ogden.
Dude.
God bless it. The Blind Side. What's his name?
Oh yeah, old Michael Orr.
Michael Orr. You know, he drafted Lamar Jackson. He's ushering in this next phase. Marlon Humphrey, if he stays on this trajectory of being that dude, he could be a Hall of Famer someday. And I mean, he drafted every single one of these players. And he really and he brought up Eric DeCosta, just brought him up. And all that Eric DeCosta is doing is continuing that. That's all he's doing is continuing that. And it's crazy. And I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah, dude. Dude, you guys have a great future ahead of you. Like I said, you guys have a young core.
Super young.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson's younger than Joe Burrow, and has 2 years.
Right. Freaking unanimous NFL MVP. Unanimous NFL MVP, younger than the Heisman Trophy winner.
By the way, dude, what's going on with Hollywood Brown? He was saying hey, dude, why? You have soldiers, but you don't use them, kind of. Right.
So he was obviously frustrated. I mean, I understand it from a player standpoint.
I want the ball. Clearly.
I want the ball always.
Mm-hmm.
I want the ball always. There's never a time when I don't want the ball. Like if Chad Ochocinco was said it best. Like I could be in a phone booth with 2 DBs, but I'm open. Throw me the ball. And so from that mentality, man, I get it. But when, I'd have to go back and look at exactly how many rush yards we had. But, last year we broke the league rushing record by over 200 yards.
Yeah.
And there were many games, and obviously including the last game that we played against Pittsburgh, where Lamar didn't play for the third and fourth. He didn't play for half the third quarter and didn't play for the entire fourth quarter. Could you imagine the numbers that he could have put up and we could have put up as a team with
Lamar on the field,
him playing, with him, being on the field. And I mean, I say all of that to say this, we were running the ball all over Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
They could stack the box. I'm pretty sure there were several plays where they stacked the box with 8 guys. And we ran for 6 and ran for 7 and ran for 8. What? But if you literally can't stop it, why would I do anything else? And I mean, the one pass he caught, yes, it was for 3 yards, but it was a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, and here's my thing. Hollywood Brown is not a guy that can go up and get the ball. He's not one of those that you're like, hey, you go over there and you just do whatever you want to do and you're going to get the ball. He's not DK Metcalf. He's not, I mean, I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to have to get in the bag. Like, he's not DK Metcalf. He's not Julio Jones. He's not Odell Beckham to where he can be like, hey, you guys go over there. He's not DeAndre Hopkins. He's not a healthy AJ Green. Like, he's not that dude. He's just not. And see, like, that's why I was huge on, like, hey, we need to get DK. We need to get DK. Because I truly feel like Lamar would be even better if we had that dude that could just go up and get the football.
Wasn't AJ Brown there? Wasn't he available too?
He was, yes. AJ. No, Hollywood Brown was the first receiver off the board.
Yeah, AJ. I think AJ Brown was a better. I think AJ Brown's a better receiver than DK too, man.
I personally disagree. I'm a little bit biased, of course, but I personally disagree. But I mean, you could make the argument. As far as him being a complete receiver, sure, I accept.
So AJ Brown makes Ryan Tannehill a better quarterback.
AJ Brown makes Ryan Tannehill look good.
Right. DK Metcalf has probably the MVP of the league right now.
Right. And see, like, I feel, I mean, you can, everybody can disagree if they want, because there's a fella named Patrick Mahomes that is just an absolute stud. Russell Wilson is the best quarterback in the league. It's not a question.
I think so too.
Not a question. You can ask Russell Wilson to do anything and he'll get it done.
So when it comes to just straight up accuracy, dude, like the way Russell can just feather a ball into a certain zone is amazing. Whereas Pat Mahomes, I mean, he can do some crazy stuff with his arm, but dude, look at his completion record. It is
completions. Exactly.
He misses a lot, dude.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you're throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill, who might be the fastest player to ever play the game, between him and Deion Sanders, and I guess Mecole Hardman, but you're throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill. You're throwing the ball to Travis Kelce. You're throwing the ball to Mecole Hardman. You're throwing the ball to Sammy Watkins. You're throwing the ball, on
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, dink and dunks to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Darren Williams from last year. Before Kareem Hunt decided to try and be an all-pro kicker, you're throwing the ball to Kareem Hunt. Like,
nice.
We just talked a little bit of mess about Baker Mayfield. You put Baker Mayfield on that roster, and he'd be okay. The Chiefs would still be a good team. They would not be what they are with Patrick Mahomes. No, of course not. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is better than Baker. But when you're throwing the ball to these guys, when you're throwing the ball to, I don't know how many players I just named, but there's 4 or 5 that could be, if they got the lion's share of the load, could be all pros every year.
Dude, you don't hit a number 3 wide receiver in the league until you get down to Robinson.
He would be a number 2 he would be at least a number 2 on almost any other roster.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think he's a doable number 2, but a number 3 wide receiver in the league. But the thing is, he's like 7th to get the ball. Like, that's insane, dude.
And that's sad. Or it's just not even sad. It's funny. It's hilarious. And kudos to that front office for putting that squad together. Are you joking? We talked about Ozzie and Eric DaCosta, but kudos to the Kansas City freaking Chiefs for putting together that roster. Like, are you joking? For doing their homework and grabbing Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and signing Sammy Watkins. That might have been their best signing of that.
Talk about Kareem Hunt, dude. Toledo. I watched that Senior Bowl. I'm like, bro, this kid's good. This kid's really good.
And then he just showed.
They took him in the 4th round. They took him in the 4th round, dude. Yeah. But dude, I think that we're coming on an hour, bro. I appreciate you coming on. Anytime you want to come back on, we can come back. I got some other co-hosts. If you want to just shoot the crap on like another live stream, you're welcome to come on.
For sure, man. Anytime. I love doing this. Doing this.
It's awesome, dude. Just chopping it up, dude. I love this stuff. But I appreciate you coming on, dude. Is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, man, just thanks for having me. I appreciate the chat for kind of being engaging, and there's not too many people, but I appreciate the chat for being engaging and kind of not roasting me. Let me just say they haven't roasted me yet. They haven't roasted me yet. There's the comment section could be alive with that. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. We pretty much, we stayed on topic the whole time, dude, talking mostly football. I love it. Anytime you need somebody to come out and chop it up with you. I'm
man.
down.
Well, this is sports media, man. We can talk anything sports. That's all I want to do. Like that's what I'm aiming to grow with this channel. And like, I'm not too worried about who's in there right now, because it's like what I think just turned 7 on the East Coast.
Right. It's early back home. So
yeah, super early, dude. So I mean, I'll throw the hashtags and all that stuff there. But I appreciate you coming on, Doc. Dude, anytime you want to come back on, just let me know. Throw me a snap, and then we'll get to it. Guys, I appreciate you watching. Please like, subscribe, all that stuff. It really helps the channel grow. If you want more live streams, let me know. We need to get more interactive in the comment section. But I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. And welcome to the Roar. Peace. Boom.